Catching is a skill that uses our fine motor skills as well as hand-eye coordination. It can take a little time for the children to get used to catching, but keep practicing. Before we get started, there are a few things we need to remember before we do any fundamental movement skill. 1, make sure that you start by throwing a big object for the children to catch. This could be a bigger ball, or maybe they could bring in their favorite teddy. 2, make sure that you over-exaggerate how big you're doing the movement so they can see exactly how it's done. And 3, make sure that with any of our manipulative skills, focus on teaching the arms first before you include the legs. Alrighty, it's time to break down catching. When we're doing our catching, our legs can be however you want them. So if you're more comfortable with your legs together, do it that way. Or if your legs are more comfortable apart, you can do it that way too. Step 1 for our catching, we need to focus on our hands. We don't want a child to be catching with their forearms, so let's practice a little saying that goes like this. Wiggle, 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 catch. Wiggle, 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 catch. Great job. By doing wiggle fingers like this, the child's attention is focused on their hands, and by clapping our hands together, it means that they are practicing doing that catching motion. Step 2 for our catching, we just need to make sure that their arms are in position. It's really important that you're standing nice and close and you do a really simple throw so that they can catch it easy. So making sure that their arms are apart like this, not too far out and not too close together, just like this. You could practice doing some clapping with their arms in that position. Step 3 is when you can start to think about what object you would like to throw for them to catch. Maybe you have some big balls that you'd like to throw, or maybe you could get them to bring in their favorite toy. This might be a really great idea for those children that need a little bit more encouragement. I have my favorite toy with me today, and we're going to do a big catch all together. You ready? Wiggle, 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 and catch! Great job! You might notice there are a few common errors that the children do when they're learning a skill for the first time. It's really important that we learn to detect and correct these errors so that the children do not progress further with bad habits. Some common errors you might realize the children do as they start to catch is that they're looking away from the ball. It can be a little bit scary when an object or a ball is flying towards your face, so make sure you're standing in front of them with a big smile and encouraging them to look at the ball. Another thing that you might realize is that they're catching the ball with their forearms. Make sure that you're continuing to practice the wiggle, 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 clap, so that they are catching the ball with the palm of their hands. And lastly, you might realize that they struggle to catch the ball when you're standing far away. Stand nice and close and do a gentle throw towards them so they feel confident. Happy catching!